Hey, honey.
Yes, Barry?
Let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are going to be going north across state lines into Bucerias in the Mexican state of Nayarit, just 45 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta. We're going to have some delicious Italian food at a very beautiful seaside restaurant, Mezzogiorno, and we're going to be meeting one of the owner partners there, Sidney Lecther. Sidney is going to give you the scoop on Bucerias and on Mezzogiorno, but before we get to Sidney, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 27th of August, 2021. It's always exciting in Puerto Vallarta, and we had two fires last week. Very, very scary. One actually happened yesterday morning over at Restaurant Florio's. If you know Florio's, it's right in the middle of the downtown area. It looks like it may not be a total loss, but we're going to wait and see. I liked Florio's. They served pizzas and steaks. It was kind of an Argentinian kind of a restaurant. Anyway, I hope that they can put everything back together over there. The other fire happened on Sunday night. It seems to have started in the offices along the outside of the periphery of the Malecon 2 building, one of the twin condo buildings that sit on the Malecon extension. Actually, right where the Devil's Bar is. They're right on that corner of Malecon 2. And the fire actually quickly spread to the shops throughout that building, right along Avenida Morelos, and then, up that little alleyway that goes past the Devil's Bar. All the little tiendas inside there, if you've ever been in there, they sell clothing and trinkets, earrings, jewelry, stuff like that. They have little stands, little stalls. Anyway, many of those were wiped out from the fire or the smoke or the water damage that was caused by the firefighting. Let me read from this report from Noticias PV. It says 12 stores were burned in the Malecon 2 market. Another 18 premises were indirectly affected, both by smoke, temperature, and water. The judicial authorities requested the presence of experts from the Jalisco Institute of Forensic Sciences to find out the causes. It goes on, a total of 12 stores directly affected by the fire and 18 more affected indirectly is the preliminary balance that is recorded around the fire that arose in the Malecon 2 handicraft market on Sunday night, which ended up being controlled and didn't end up being controlled until the following morning on Monday. The foregoing was made known by the municipal authorities who were present at the scene of the events until around noon this Monday, when the staff of the Jalisco Institute of Forensic Science and the area of expert services and claims and explosives carried out the corresponding expert opinions in order to verify the causes, because until now it is unknown what caused it. It was announced that after the situation was controlled, the civil protection and firefighter personnel made a tour of the affected area, detecting that there were 12 premises directly affected by the fire. Also, they reported that there were 18 more indirectly affected. that is affected by smoke, temperature, and water. It was explained that the report entered at 9:45 p.m. on Sunday and ended at 5 in the morning on Monday. However, the firefighters continued in the place until the arrival of the experts from the Jalisco Institute of Forensic Science, as well as the judicial authorities who would initiate the investigations into these events, because that was the order given by the agent of the public ministry who, when commanded and leadership was requested. On the other hand, it seems in the same vein, the firefighters' staff clarified that what was found at the intersection of the streets of Juarez and Agustin Rodriguez, where the Juarez parking lot begins, is not a fire hydrant, but rather a Ciapol. Therefore, they could not take the water since there was no connection. There was no. So what they're saying is that the Ciapol is a drinking water connection. It was not a fire hydrant. Very interesting. Said the tenants were upset. They didn't know the reason why they were not drinking water from the place to quell the fire, because the time came when the firefighters ran out of water that caused the fire to cause more damage. They stated that it was not possible for there to be more yellow tape than water in the place. Therefore, the same tenant hired 2 water pipes from the satellite company in desperation to save their businesses, which is part of their heritage. It was clarified that it was not a hydrant. What is a hydrant is the one that was found at the Molina de Agua Hotel, and it is where the units of the fire department and civil protection were being supplied, which later returned shortly to quell the fire. So, in other words, they had to go back and forth to the Molina de Agua Hotel in order to fill up the fire trucks, because the hydrant that was next to this particular building was not a regular fire hydrant, it says here. So very, very interesting. Wow. Anyway, I have a link to both of these stories in the show notes. What is it with the fires? Come on. And luckily, the Devil's Bar was not damaged. None of the shops on the Malecon side were affected at all. I'm pretty sure that none of the condos were damaged, although I'm pretty sure some smoke damage was pretty evident in some of those places. I was a little bit worried when I saw that, not just for the shops and the stores and for Melinda over at the Devil's Bar, but I'm actually staying right next door at Malecon 1 beginning on Sunday for 10 days. And that would have been a drag if that building had burned down. But anyway, I found a very nice Airbnb right there in Malecon 1 with an ocean view and a balcony. It was about $65 a night. I usually don't spend that much when I go by myself, as you know, but I figured I was going to splurge. And right now I'm actually in the process of packing and collecting all kinds of stuff for my friends to mule on down. I have a fan. I have oven mitts. Let's see. I have beauty products. I have spices. I'm bringing Francie from Bonito Kitchen some sesame oil and some teriyaki sauce. Shh, don't tell her. By the way, over at the food bank, Vallarta Food Bank, they have just served their 100,000th meal. Is that unbelievable or what? I mean, speaking of Francie, so she's done such great work there. I've got a nice little gift for her, a little surprise. Anyway, I have a dedicated muling check-in bag, so all that stuff is going into there. But wait, there's more. There's more, everybody. My youngest son is going to be actually joining me on this trip. I got a text from him. He's in his master's program in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, and he calls me up. He says, "Hey, Dad, I'm between jobs. When are you going to Mexico again?" So I said, "End of the month. You want to go?" So anyway, he is going to be flying in from Wisconsin. He lands about 12 minutes before I do. My flight from Los Angeles lands, just right after his. So he is a Puerto Vallarta virgin, and he was there when he was 18 months old, but he does not remember that. So he is definitely, in my book, a Puerto Vallarta virgin. I picked out a Airbnb for him, which was $35 a night, and it is in the building where Salud Superfoods is, over there on Olas Altas. So he's going to be hanging out right there in the middle of town. I'll bring some earplugs just in case he doesn't have any. I'm sure he doesn't. He probably doesn't. Has no idea what it's going to be like over there. Anyway, I'll be taking videos of both of the places. I usually do. So stay tuned for those. And I have a bunch of great interviews that are lined up for this trip. I'm going to be posting a lot of Facebook Live stuff and Instagram stuff. So if you don't follow my Facebook page or my Instagram page for the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, please check them out. I'm going to try to put my son to work while I'm down there anyway. Maybe add some video to the podcast, but, use him as a cameraman or something like that. I don't know if he's going to go for that. He basically said, Dad, steer me to the beach, find me a volleyball court, and show me the places that you like to go and hang out and drink. So, truth is that he's 26 years old. He's athletic. He's a volleyball player. He's 6'7", good looking. He's smart, and no doubt he'll be bringing his ukulele down, and he'll probably sit on the beach, strum out a couple of Jack Johnson tunes, and it'll be all over. I'll never see him again. And, I guess that's okay. He'll probably show up for a couple pesos, but whatever. Anyway, that reminds me, I've got to deflate a couple of volleyballs for my luggage. The governor of Jalisco, Enrique Alfaro Ramirez, talked about the next steps for Jalisco during this pandemic. We checked out on him last week, and he said at that time they're going to check back in 2 weeks. And as we announced last time, all the bars and the nightclubs have been closed for the entire month of August. He ordered all the restaurants to remain at 50% capacity and proper COVID protocols to be followed by all, wearing the masks, washing the hands, doing the whole thing. Restaurants need to close by midnight. And, that's kind of how he left it. That's how we left it a couple weeks ago. Anyway, the cases of the dreaded Rona continued to rise back then, even as thousands lined up for the vaccine. These vaccines come from all over the globe, by the way. Mexico's been receiving a smorgasbord of the happy juice, including vaccines from Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, CanSino, the Sputnik 5, the Janssen J&J, the Oxford AstraZeneca, Covaxin, Sinovac CoronaVac, as well as two of their own trial vaccines, CureVac and Recombinant NDV vectored vaccine. So, wow, with all these brands out there, I don't know. What do you do when you need spare parts for the third jab? Are there any? Can you mix and match? Inquiring minds would really like to know. Let's get back to the governor. The Jalisco governor stated that cases and hospitalizations have dropped, although not significantly, but enough so that no further restrictions are planned. He said he would return to review the situation with the health advisors every week instead of every 2 weeks. He also suggested that the bars and the clubs would reopen on the 1st of September. Yay! And that they would wait and watch and see. So we will be watching the governor, and I will bring you his announcements when they come. And although there are calls and demands coming from all four corners of the globe for vaccine passports and proof of getting the jab, it seems that the Mexican president has weighed in on this very weighty and controversial subject. This is from TravelPulse.com. This article was written by Donald Wood, dated August 4th, 2021. It reads, the president of Mexico announced on Monday that his country has no plans of asking residents and arriving tourists for proof of COVID-19 vaccination. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador announced during a press conference hosted by the Mazatlan Tourism Promotion Office that despite the recent surge in confirmed coronavirus cases worldwide, vaccine mandates are not part of the government's long-term health and safety plans. There are currently some protests in Europe, very significant protests because vaccination proof is being required to move around or visit shopping centers or restaurants, and people are opposing that. Lopez Obrador said. As for Mexico, we won't require such types of proof whatsoever. I want to be very clear about that. Last week, the Quintana Roo Tourism Board debunked erroneous reports from the media outlets that the Mexican state's governor, Carlos Joaquin, enacted a policy mandating proof of vaccination and a negative COVID for entry into hotels, restaurants, and bars. This is not a mandate. Unfortunately, this information was misinterpreted by local news outlets and picked up by international media, a Quintana Roo Tourism Board spokesperson told Travel Pulse's Claudette Covey. The government stated that in order for restaurants and bars to operate at a higher capacity, they would have to create a safe health space, which would mean vaccinating and testing all their employees, requiring guests to present proof of vaccination or antigen tests. This was a suggestion on how to create a safer environment, but it was never a state mandate or requirement, the spokesperson continued. As of today, no restaurant, bar, or hotel has announced implementing these measures. Despite the U.S. government extending the closure of land borders with Mexico to non-essential travel through August 21st, the country predicts international tourist numbers will rebound this summer as COVID-19 vaccines become more readily available worldwide. Mexican Tourism Minister Miguel Turco Marquez announced that they projected visitors' numbers for July and August, saying that they expect 20.2 million tourists. And in addition, Mexican officials revealed that 99.5% of the country's beaches are classified as suitable for recreational use, according to data from the Federal Commission for the Protection Against Sanitary Risks. And I have a link to this article in the show notes from travelpulse.com over at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And now we go from no passports necessary to roll up your sleeves and show us your papers. The first cruise ships are returning to Puerto Vallarta, and you're going to need to be jabbed in order to participate. That's right. This Tuesday, the Carnival Panorama sailed into the Bahia de Banderas with 2,450 passengers. It was about 70% full. The ship departed Long Beach, California, right down the street from me. There was great fanfare. So, hey, let's listen to this report from CBS Channel 2 in Los Angeles.
The Carnival Panorama will soon begin a week-long cruise to Mexico from Long Beach.
CBS 2's Hermela Aragari is live in Long Beach with reaction from passengers. Hermela?
Hi, Christine and Tom. Yeah, we're starting to hear the music up there, so it sounds like the party is getting started. This is a historic moment for the city of Long Beach and Carnival Cruise Lines in more ways than one. Let me step out of the way so that you can see the panorama here. It is the first brand new cruise ship this port has seen in a very long time, and the first cruise ship out of this state since the pandemic began. Carnival Panorama is taking off from Long Beach Port Saturday afternoon, marking the first cruise ship to sail from California in about a year and a half of the pandemic. We are so excited. I want to scream, yippee!
We are from Sacramento, California, and we are beyond excited. We left our 3 kids home with Grandma. Thank you.
Carnival Cruise Line officials say the Panorama is their first brand new ship to take off from the Long Beach port in 20 years.
This ship is still brand spanking new. She even smells like a new ship.
Cruise officials say the ship is heading to Mexico for a 7-day voyage with about 3,000 passengers at 70% of capacity due to COVID-19 safety measures. All eligible passengers were required to show proof of vaccination and a recent negative COVID test, and masks are required indoors in certain areas of the ship, which also has a full medical facility on board.
We feel really safe, and the mask wearing doesn't bother us.
It's a little unnerving, but I think if we keep our distance and avoid crowds, I think we'll be okay.
Passengers we spoke with came from all across the West Coast and even as far as Canada. This trip is Tigana Runti's college graduation gift from her mom.
I think I'm kind of at the age now where my mom and I can be friends and not just like mom and daughter. So I'm really looking forward to day drinking with my mom.
Long Beach officials say before the pandemic, the leisure hospitality industry brought in about 20,000 jobs and about 700,000 people to the city each year. But all of that came to a halt.
We've lost tens of millions of dollars in direct spending by the tourists and visitors who use Carnival Cruise Lines.
city officials tell us if all goes according to plan, they are soon expecting about 4 ships to take off from this port each week. That's about 15,000 passengers and all the business that comes with it. They say that will help revive the city. For now, live in Long Beach, Carmela Aragawi, CBS 2 News.
And the ship, of course, departed and arrived in Puerto Vallarta on Tuesday. I have a video from Channel 2 CBS right there in the show notes. And according to Angela, our weather lady, we had over 25 and a half inches this month of rain, bringing it to a total of 49.61 inches total for the year. Compare that to last year, 9.93 inches for the month and a total of 34.27 inches for the year. So we are ahead of last year by 15 inches. Not bad. Now, there's been a ton of rain, and we have more on the way in the form of a tropical storm, soon to be a hurricane, perhaps. Nora, just in time for my arrival. Let me read here from Associated Press. A strengthening tropical storm Nora is rolling toward a hurricane hit on Mexico's Pacific coast over the weekend and later on the Baja California Peninsula. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says the storm could bring dangerous flash floods and mudslides through the weekend. It's likely to graze the point below the Puerto Vallarta region on Saturday and then possibly the Los Cabos Resort region on Monday. Nora had maximum sustained winds of 40 miles an hour Thursday afternoon and is expected to reach hurricane force on Saturday. It's a big system with tropical storm force winds extending as far as 205 miles from the center. And I have a link to that AP report in the show notes. And I'll be, reporting Storm Watch from the Malecon on Sunday, so just stay tuned. Man, lots of rain. Speaking of flooding and raining and hillside slides, we spoke last week about the portion of Calle Santa Barbara, which crashed into the construction site on Playa de los Muertos, towards the end of the beach there on the south side. The city council actually convened. They talked about the issues facing places that are built on hillsides, blah, blah, blah. We will be old and gray by the time they figure this out. But hey, stay tuned. Good news for those who are staying in Marina Vallarta, in that area there. If you're vacationing and you need to go home, on the airplane, you're going to need a COVID test, and you can take one now in the marina. They have one of those pop-up places there to test and have them stick something up your nose. Well, that's what they do. Come on. Let's see. The former Mexican president, Vicente Fox, age 78, and his wife are out of the hospital, just in case you were wondering. Both recovered from the Rona. Both had minor cases of the virus. So good for them. I got very sad news, actually, a very, very sad message from our friend Jose Alfredo over at No Way Jose. It reads, Saludos, querido hermano Barry. Well, I'll be safe. I just want you to tell you how sad I feel. What happened with the COVID killed my baby. I'll have to close the doors of No Way Jose. I'll talk to you about it later. Jose Alfredo. So, unfortunately, it looks like the virus has killed many businesses. And I'll be having a couple of tequilas with Jose Alfredo next week. We're going to see what his plans are. I also see that Coco Tropical was bulldozed. After almost 30 years, they leased the property to the Hotel Playa Los Arcos, and they're going to be making that into a beach club. So just a few changes. Sad day for friends of Coco Tropical, and of course a very, very sad day for Jose Alfredo and for those friends of No Way Jose. One of the interviews that I have planned is with the folks over at the Hotel Playa Los Arcos, and they've got all kinds of things happening over there. The first time I stayed in Puerto Vallarta was over at Playa Los Arcos back in 1984. And speaking of restaurants, well, we're going to even have Restaurant Week, even with the pandemic raging in Puerto Vallarta. From Vallarta Lifestyles, I'll read, welcome to Restaurant Week. by Vallarta Lifestyles, our gastronomic festival in Puerto Vallarta and Riviera Nayarit will take place from September 15th to August 10th, 2021. During these 3 weeks, participating restaurants offer innovative 3-course menus with 3 options each to delight both residents and visitors who seek to know the gastronomic offer of our tourist destination at a reduced price. It says meet the restaurants participating in the 2021 edition and their special menus. And I have a link to that in the show notes, so you can go check those out. And if you were in town for Restaurant Weeks, I should say, September 15th through October 10th, you should be looking for the banners in the windows of the participating restaurants. Or, like I said, just click on the link in the show notes, and you will see who is participating. And speaking of Restaurant Week, hey, let's get to our guest, shall we? The first time I heard of Mezzogiorno, it was during my first on-the-ground interview with Gary Beck, who wrote the guide on restaurants in Puerto Vallarta. I had to go back to my files from January of 2017, where Gary Beck said...
Well, in Bucerias, I was just there yesterday, and my favorite restaurants are Mezzogiorno Italian, just fabulous place. You can eat inside or outside. And they're part of the May Restaurant Festival, too.
And then I was doing a real estate roundtable, and one of the panelists, David Pollin, talked about Mezzogiorno as well. And I asked him after the panel if he knew the owner, and he said, do I know him? Absolutely. And so the introductions were done. And finally, after 4 years, I finally made it to Mezzogiorno. If you are a regular listener to the show, you know that we rarely go up to Bucerias or up north, but finally, in January 2021, I took a bus ride from in front of the Walmart over on Francisca Villa. I took the ATM bus north. I hopped off at Valle de Banderas, which is not too far from the statue of the diver and the Bucerias letters in the middle of Bucerias. And then I took a stroll past the beachfront restaurants that line the shore from El Buzo, which is the diver's statue. And I arrived at the very last restaurant, and that's where I found Mezzogiorno. It is a beautifully situated place. It's designed and laid out in a way where you can either eat indoors or outdoors, on the sand or at an outdoor table off the sand. The smell of Italian food, the whirling of the blender, the sound of the waves, the lighting, the architecture make it a real pleasure and a true experience for the senses. I was given a tour of the property by a young man who then guided me to a table outside so that we could have that sound of the waves in the background. And out came Sidney, who also grabbed a bottle of water, sat down, and we chatted. Got to know one another a little bit better before we talked. And he told me he had searched my Facebook profile. He noticed that I was a gemologist. He wondered if I had ever met some of his family who are in the colored stone business. They're colored stone dealers. And surprisingly enough, small world I had. Eventually we got around to talking about his passion, his restaurant, built by him and his partner in business and in life, Enrique Cremaci. They built it out of his former home on the beach. So let's go right now to a table with a beautiful view of the Bahia de Banderas and a lovely restaurant, Mezzogiorno, Bucerias, Nayarit, Mexico. Sidney, thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
Tell my audience a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to, Bucerias, I guess, right?
Well, let me, the whole story in 10 minutes. I was born in Brazil, lived in Brazil for the first 19 years of my life. Went to New York City to study design. Graduated from school in New York City back in 1984. Moved to LA, 1984. I used to enjoy cooking a lot, so I used to do like cooking on the side for friends and sometimes private parties. And But my main business when I moved to LA was basically to do design work as a lighting designer, and then I got into a little bit of a real estate, buying, renovating homes. When the market crashed in 1991, that's when I had to get out of the business. It's like I always tell that, from Beverly Hills, I rolled down the hill and turned east, and that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
And I had to reinvent myself. And believe it or not, I got into it's a pet business store in Hermosa Beach. And that's when actually one thing led to another. I had a friend that I met that was opening a restaurant right next to my business, which we shared the same landlord. And so I met this guy from Italy, and then we got into this small restaurant, 8 tables in Hermosa Beach. And then from then on, it's like we basically expanded the business in Hermosa Beach, West Hollywood, then went to Park City, Utah, which I lived for a few years. And back in 2000 actually, we came to Puerto Vallarta to open a restaurant here. The reason is because my partner was living in Argentina and he wanted to do something with us. And then he moved here, and then we decided to open a place here. I knew Puerto Vallarta quite well from back in the 80s. I used to come here often, and I liked it a lot. And I thought that opening a business here, it was pretty much having a business in Hermosa Beach, because most of my clients that were here was pretty much the same, the people that live in LA,
Yeah.
or it's like, and we had the same menu, the same, everything is set up the same as we had in the States. And one thing led to another, and then here I am after 20 years of of the business, and I'm here in Bucerias,
All right. So the name of your restaurant is?
The restaurant now is Mezzogiorno here, Mezzogiorno.
It started as something else.
I'm sorry?
It started as something else?
Yeah, no, it's Mezzogiorno here, but we started as Buona Vita in the States, and we end up being Mezzaluna in Puerto Vallarta because the name Buona Vita was already taken here, so we couldn't do it. So, but all my restaurants in the States, in California and Utah, I used to call, and I think my ex-partner there still have restaurants in Park City with the same name, Buona Vita. And then we we registered the name and changed from Puerto Vallarta, which we had a restaurant there initially for 6 years. Then we sold the restaurant in Puerto Vallarta, Mezzaluna, and came to Bucerias and did Mezzogiorno. And it's been Mezzogiorno for the last 14 years now.
What does Mezzogiorno mean?
Mezzogiorno means noon, basically. It's Mezzogiorno. And also it's a part of Italy that's in the south of Italy. It's a part of Italy called Mezzogiorno. It's just like a sort of like, mid, Italy.
Middle Italy.
Yeah, something like that.
So you opened this restaurant when? What was the date?
We opened this restaurant in year 2006. We sold the one in Vallarta in 2006. And this actually, this location used to be my house. So I lived here from 2000 to 2006 and had the restaurant in Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta we had a very nice actually restaurant in downtown Vallarta, corner of Corona Street in Hidalgo, very close to the church.
Yeah.
And but the problem became very complicated to park, very complicated to drive there because traffic became very intense. I don't know if we realize that, after the year 2000, when the Four Seasons Hotel opened here in Punta Mita, it started becoming very popular. Then St. Regis opened, then different hotels opened, and all of a sudden, the traffic, it became so intense that I told my partner, to be here in Vallarta, having problems I had in LA, I said, you know what, I might as well go back to Los Angeles and not be here dealing with the same, problems we had there. But then he said, okay, we either sell the house in Bucerias and move to Puerto Vallarta, which is now, it's about 18 kilometers maybe, But at the time, it used to take like maybe 25 minutes to get there. Now it takes like 45, 50 minutes an hour. Depends on the traffic. And then we thought, we didn't, and David Pullen, like you mentioned before, he actually found somebody that was not even looking to sell the restaurant. And they came from Rome, Eugenio, which is still friends, and then he wanted to buy the business. So fine. So he sold the business, and not knowing exactly what's going to happen here in Bucerias, because 2006 is still, Bucerias is not well known. If people in Vallarta asked me where I lived and say Bucerias, they had no idea what it was.
Yeah, it's a foreign country. It's like Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, we took our chances, and as you can see, the restaurant was the space you see out here. That's what we had. We had a huge tree in the middle, which is kind of very nice, but it died naturally. And, and things led to another, and it became very popular. And it's been a very good ride for us for the last 14 years.
No kidding. So the menu, obviously it's Italian. Can you kind of give us the
menu? The menu is pretty much an extraction of the menus in the States. It's pretty much the carbonara, Alfredo, lasagna, some homemade raviolis. It's pretty much Italian. We don't do meats or anything like that. We do fresh fish, A little funny story, like when I moved, when we moved here to Vallarta, it's our menu is very like American, because that's how we started, that's how we eat in the States, it's not like we don't eat like in Europe,
Right.
Obviously, I think if I had to open a restaurant in Europe, I would fail because it's different crowd. That's just what I told my Eugenio, the guy who bought the business from us, when he bought it, and he's from Rome. He came with the idea of a chef from Côte d'Azur, and he thought that he discovered America. And, oh my God, I'm from Rome, I'm Italian, and I'm gonna make a killing here. And and I said, Eugenio, I said, keep in mind that it's like the clients are not Europeans here. It's pretty much Americans and Canadians, and Mexicans. And it's no, Sidney, I'm fine. You can. I said I offered to stay with him for a month, so because he bought the restaurant in February when high season, and I want to make sure that people come in and they see my face. I introduced to Eugenio. I said no, your menu is too American. That's why he said, take your menu away. It's like, I didn't like it very much, but I said, what? Okay, Eugenio, ciao, good luck. Well, to make a long story short, he didn't last a year. He's long gone.
Wow.
And we're still good friends. He opened a place in Buenos Aires, and I know him from there. And now he's in Italy again. Nice guy, but he didn't understand the market.
Yeah.
And that's what my menu was. And I had sometimes, comments from some Italians in town or Europeans. Now they come in and they make kind of funny remarks about my menu, and they say, "Oh, because this is not Italian." And then I'm sometimes I get sensitive about what people say, and I decided I went to Italy for a month, and I hired. I went to a school in Italy, and I worked with 5 different chefs, and I said, I just want to do my menu. I want to see what is it that I'm doing that the Italians don't, Mm-hmm. I went to Florence, and I studied there with them. I said, I want to cook pretty much all my menu and then learn a few things.
Yeah.
And I realized that, it's like even them, I don't know if you've been to Italy, but it's like, it's like in Italy, it's like, let's compare, Florence with Bucerias. If you go to Nuovo Vallarta, like 5 kilometers away, they cook different. And they fought among themselves. No, this is not how I do it. You do it this way, you do it that way. It's like, and then I made adjustments, and then now I'm comfortable with what I do. And, if an Italian comes here, well, it's like, what you get is what you get, but.
That's right. Well, you're not getting a whole bunch of Italians here. I got to tell you that right now, right? I mean, you don't get a bunch of Italians come running in here, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. They come to check me out sometimes, and to criticize, see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
But I mean,
come on. What's the fun in not doing that?
Honestly, I know a few Italian friends that have restaurants, and I eat, it's good, but I mean, it's like, again, it's like maybe they, like in Italy, they serve the pasta as an appetizer. We serve the pasta with chicken, which is the main dish. That's how you eat. That's how I learned how to eat.
Always did it that way.
It's like
in my house, in my restaurants.
And we have like large portions. It's like make sure that you eat and you're full. That's how I think it's supposed to be. I don't like design food, and that's what Eugenio did. He designed his food. And food that Europeans understood, but we did not. Yeah. And that's why I feel.
Yeah, well, you got mostly Americans and Canadians walking around here, so that's kind of who you want to be catering to, right?
That's what I tell a lot of people. You have to understand your market. Like I said before, I couldn't go to Rome, open a restaurant there, because I have no idea what my market is going to be. If it is locals, so maybe I'm going to fall flat on my face.
Sure.
And I think that's what people sometimes they have to understand. And because I came from LA for 20 years of restaurants there, I knew what my market was because all my friends are here from US, at the time.
Yeah. So. Well, you know the secret because people love your food here, I got to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I have a good following. I don't do any advertising. I haven't done advertising in years. It's our word of mouth. A lot of hotels send people here not because I don't trade. I sometimes some hotels I invite. I don't give. We don't give
like a percentage or whatever.
We don't give a percentage to anyone. We don't pay tax drivers. We don't pay anybody. It's like the concierge hotel. Sometimes what we do, we said if you want to come and eat. And see if you like it. If you like it, you
say nice things about us.
If you don't. But but I don't do commissions. But it worked for us. We try to do what's right, and we try to be honest with ourselves and with our clients. Like one thing that I always say to everybody here, my employees and my people, everything that you drink here, I drink. Everything they eat, I eat. It's like I don't cheat on people with ingredients or trying to cut down on certain things because, it's cheap and I'm going to pass it on to you. No, that's what I'm saying. So basically, it's like everything I eat, I serve. Everything I drink, I serve. And I think that's how it's, we are, I think we are pretty much confident with ourselves,
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, so if somebody were to come here, sit down, and start a meal, what would you suggest? They get some appetizers, maybe something like that. What do you got going on there?
Honestly, it's like if somebody, some people sometimes, some friends, some people that I've had clients for many years, they come in and say, "Oh, Sidney, suggest something." It's difficult to suggest. If what's good, we don't usually have specials aside from the fish. Everything is good, But, let's say if you had a trademark dish, it would be the lasagna. Like I was telling my manager yesterday, oh my God, I had like 20 lasagnas yesterday. Now I only had 8, so it was sold, I think, over 12 lasagnas in one night. Which it's a good lasagna. It's a recipe that I brought from an older lady that I met in Florence. And I think by then she's passed away, and she gave me the recipe of the bolognese sauce, which I'm proud of, and sells a lot. But they come, they're comfortable. The menu now, I don't know if you notice, is in QR. We don't have a menu anymore because of COVID. It's like we have all the QRs on the table here, and then you just come with your phone, and you check it out, And the menu is pretty much it's pretty simple, there's nothing complicated. You obviously, if you don't know something, the employees, they're happy to, to tell you what it is. And, and if they want suggestions, my favorite dish, I like the carbonara, to be honest. I like my Caesar, which was a recipe that given to by the Four Seasons in Mexico City. Which
Nice.
Because I met chef there. I went to, I always, when I have opportunity, I always go to different cities and going to send up a course with a chef or hotel and all. And
you're the guy that wanders into the kitchen, right?
I'm sorry?
You're the guy that wanders into the kitchen, right?
Yeah, I don't cook anymore. I used to cook for many years, but now it's like, I manage the kitchen. It's like, anything comes out of the kitchen, it's like good or bad is, I'm responsible for it, So
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
What's the hardest part about running this restaurant here? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he's got a list. Wait a minute, he's pulling it out.
It's always the employees. It's like you can't live with them. You cannot live without them. It's like, I mean, they're not bad. But right. To be honest with you, it's like after so many years, it's not that difficult anymore. I mean, it's like we have. Me and my partner Enrique Kremaski, he managed everything. That's the billing, the buying, not the buying, but the accounting and all. And I manage everything that's to do with the food, and he does everything to do with the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice
we have
split.
set up, and then we have Evan Schaefer. He's a manager here, which is very good, and he's been with us for a few years. He's an American, also from Chicago, but a Mexican resident. And he helps us a lot because he speaks both languages fluently, and I think without him it would be kind of difficult to run because he puts the face where we don't want. Sometimes, like I mentioned to you about somebody smoking yesterday, I don't want to come in because I'm not very good.
You're not good at that.
I'm not good at that. I used to, but not anymore.
That's why you hired Evan. That's why you hired Evan, right?
That's why I have Evan. And he's very calm, very polite, very diplomatic, which is nice, which I'm not.
And he's from Chi-Town, so he knows how to kick somebody out of here.
Absolutely, yes. That's true.
All right. Well, that is not the first time I've heard that is the most difficult thing about running a restaurant in Mexico. All right, so let's leave Mezzogiorno for a minute here. Let's go out into town.
Okay.
Because we don't take the Puerto Vallarta travel show to Nayarit very often. I mean, I think I've only been here once or twice. So
really? Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, with the show, I've been here before, but if you were going to, let's just say, if this is a dinner restaurant, so I'm not going to ask you about lunches. I'm not going to ask you about dinner, but I'm going to ask you about places to eat, because we all travel on our stomachs in the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, and this is actually the bonus round. This is what everybody waits for. So, by the way, I'm sure they don't skip past this whole interview just to get to the food, so don't worry about it. We're all good. But if you were going to catch breakfast somewhere in town, where would you go?
Breakfast, I mean, I haven't been, but I've been hearing good things about Karen's place in Bucerias. She used to be actually my neighbor a long time ago. She's an English girl. She's been here for as long as I remember the same. She does a good breakfast and lunch, I think, on the beach. As I said, I haven't eaten there, but I heard from good people, some friends and some relatives, that she has a good breakfast in town. Lunch, sometimes I like going to Punta Mita, Si Senor, Mexican food, margaritas, Sometimes I go to the restaurant at the St. Regis or Four Seasons. It depends, I'm to be honest with you, it's like for the last, for the last year, we haven't been out much at all because of COVID. And
it's hard to remember that far back.
Huh?
It's hard to remember that far back.
I don't know. It's like, but in town, there's a few restaurants that I like to, that I like to mention, like Le Bistro. It's some French people that friends of mine. Actually, it's like when I want to eat a good steak, I go to Le Bistro. It's on the other side of town, in Bucerias. Very nice people, very small, very good food and good prices. Sandrina's, the same thing. She has a beautiful restaurant. She's Canadian. She has a beautiful restaurant, a beautiful garden, very, very pretty, very pretty. I was there not too long ago. Sort of a Greek food. Her husband is Greek, and she's Canadian. And she does a very good job, and I really like her place. Although I don't eat as often as I should. She comes here all the time, but I still like, I want to mention that the place is really top-notch, very pretty. It's like a place that you go, and the garden is wonderful. She has a nice shop in front of it. Who else? Burgers and little pizzas. We have La Negra, which is very popular on the other side of Bucerias as well. And Toscana Mia, it's an Italian restaurant very close to me. They have a good pizzas, good food too. It's like a competition, but I don't see them as a competition. Just name people that I really like, and they do a good job. And I think those names, I could vouch for them. If somebody comes here and wants to go, it's like I'm not gaining anything out of it. I'm just being honest with you.
Sure. And that's admirable, by the way. I have a lot of people. That's admirable. I have a lot of people that won't. So good for you.
No.
Sidney.
I you know what? It's like Enrique, my partner, says, what? We have to do what we have to do. It's like we have to look. We don't look what people are doing next door. If they're doing something that right at the full when empty, we have to look within our inside, not look at them, because we have to see what's doing wrong us.
Yeah.
But and that's how we look at it. I'm not an envy person. All these people that I mentioned, like the Le Bistro, we gave them old chairs that we had. It's like we always try to help. And people come here sometimes, they want pizza, or they want something else. Go to La Toscana Mia. It's right 3 blocks from here.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that's how it should be. It should kind of open
help each other, right?
I think so. I think so. You can't eat Mezzogiorno every night. It's like
no.
I mean, you can't.
Well,
you can't eat the Toscana Mia. You can't eat the Sandrina's. You can't eat the Le Bistro every night. That's why I'm saying it's like there is business for everyone.
Yeah.
But I always mention the ones that I think they are really true to their clients. I think.
Very good. Very good. If you were going to leave town for a day, well, what about in Puerto Vallarta? You got a favorite restaurant in Puerto Vallarta?
I do. It's a problem. Nobody knows the restaurant. It's called Pulpito 123. I think it's right in the romantic zone. Very small restaurant, very tiny. There's about 3 or 4 tables. They have tapas, and they have a couple of tables outside. I don't know, I don't know why. I know why I like it, because the food is good and I feel comfortable, and it's like you sit in a bar and just pick up, some appetizers, from a small bar. I don't know, very quaint, that. What else? I like the La Palapa, which is a good restaurant, to be on the ocean. And Barcelona also, it's Billy from Chicago. He does a very good job, although I don't go there as often. But he does a very good job in his business. He's very devoted to his business, and I don't know how he does it, because I don't think I had the strength to do it. Because when you're there, he's always there, always looking at the details, and I admire him for that, And there's a whole bunch of restaurants that I eat, but again, it's like I had been out of town, out of my house for the last year.
It's been a long time, Sidney.
I know. It's like, my God. It's like sometimes I forget how to get there anyway.
Well, yeah, they have Google Maps, just in case.
I know.
Not to worry. Not to worry. I know you know how to get there.
I know that now. I heard that today. I just heard something about Jalisco, the protocols that they're not allowing anybody over 60 to go. I don't know if that's true or not.
No,
anyway,
I haven't heard that one. And I don't see him checking the cars either, so,
Let's hope not. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck here for a few more days.
Right. Or months on end. You never know. Jeez. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what these guys have planned for us next?
I know.
If you were going to leave town for a day and just get out and have a good time and come back the same day, where would you go?
San Sebastián
okay.
del Oeste. I think that's a very quaint I would like to sleep there instead of going driving coming back. But but I've done a few times going in the morning, coming back, having lunch, coming back in the afternoon.
Okay,
but it's a very nice place, to go. Go to the Botanic Garden. I don't know if you ever been on the other side of Buceria, Puerto Vallarta South. Robert, is also from San Francisco. I think he came here many years ago. He did a beautiful job there. It's a wonderful place. Too bad I don't think he does have any sleeping quarters yet. But
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, if when they do it, and I'll be the first one to sleep there, and then I wake up in that beautiful place.
Yeah.
And then Punta Mita, Sayulita, place that you can go. And people ask, I refer people to go, for the day.
Yeah.
Especially Punta Mita, Sayulita is only about 20 minutes from here.
Right, so it's an easy trip.
Yeah, and Sayulita, I haven't been there in many years, but I hear that there's a lot of restaurants, very young, like kind of a pot smoker type of place.
Yeah, baby.
I know.
Walk down the street, get a contact high.
So,
what about 3 days? Where would you go if you had 3 days?
I like to go to Mexico City.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like, every time I have a chance, I like to be, and I like to stay at Four Seasons there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do, yeah. That's I don't know why I have a...
So you just go to Mexico City and go stay at the Four Seasons and eat there, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. And really steal their recipes. No, because I have a good friend of mine. He's from Argentina, and he works for the owner of the hotel there, and then the one and only opening here also in north of town. And the Four Seasons has a very good service, and it's not the hotel is not a posh. It's like kind of outdated a little bit, the rooms and all, but the service is very good, and I really enjoy being there. People are very nice, and I just it's like treat myself, And it's not that expensive, although I think it's Four Seasons being expensive, but in Mexico City is not that bad. But it's nice, and then from there, Uber everywhere.
Yeah.
And
so they're into the Uber in Mexico City.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like SUVs, black, and
really, wow.
I love it. It's like three things that I love the most is Airbnb, WhatsApp, and Uber.
And Uber, right? He's Mr. Application. He is the application man. Yeah, well, that's good. Gosh, it's been so long since I've been to Mexico City. I would really like to go back there again too.
But you know what? It's funny because I hadn't been in Mexico City maybe in 20 years, maybe until recent, about once, and I never wanted to go. And then when I did remodeling the restaurant, I decided to go to have to get some lighting and all. And then I discovered, wow, it's like, restaurants and it was amazing, how I missed out for many, many years, and now I'm hooked.
You've discovered it. You've discovered
That's
DFA.
right.
Look
That's
at you,
right.
man. Look at you. So other than eat, when you're in Mexico City, you go visit any museums? What do you do?
No, when I go to Mexico, I go to museums and all, but usually when I go, I always have an agenda to do, buying or either something for the restaurant, appliances, or going for lighting. And again, it's like I'm very shy when it comes to to go places where I don't know, and that's the reason I talk about Uber, because like with the applications now, where you want to go, you just put that in the application and they take you. It's like I'm not afraid of taking a cab, but they're gonna run you all over the city, and not knowing if they're going or not, and I feel safe and basically that's what I do, But I go to relax. I go relax and get away from a small town and walk, and I feel safe there. And I think it's like I don't know. It's like you said, it's a 3-day trip.
Yeah.
It's only an hour on an airplane, and back and forth. And
really, okay. So it's like flying to San Francisco. It's not that bad, huh?
Yeah. Well.
Well, I mean, from where I live in Los Angeles.
Yeah. It's true. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same.
If you had a word of advice for a first-time traveler to either Puerto Vallarta or Bucerias, what would it be?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, it's like it's there's nothing that I would say that it's that important because it's pretty safe. Obviously, if you come to the airport, there'll be a little bit of annoyance about the taxi drivers trying to, one thing that sometimes when I come to Puerto Vallarta back home, it's like, I always get, inundated with people trying to,
it's timeshares, right? The timeshare
timeshare, they can't leave their booth. So you have to worry. Don't worry about them. They can, ignore them completely. But the taxi drivers sometimes, they overcharge. Mm-hmm. And that's what I told them. I said, you know what? Don't do that because, people realize that when you charge like sometimes 500 pesos from the airport here, they know that costs half of it. Eventually you're going to find out. And, and it's a tourist. It's like it's like it's a bad taste in your mouth that being ripped off.
Yeah.
You just have to just be careful with that. And then obviously when you are installed in a hotel, if in Puerto Vallarta or in Bucerias, you have to be always, don't be completely unguarded. It's like you always have to walk around. It's very safe. Don't take me wrong. Everything is safe. But sometimes happens, there's a little bit of a, petty thefts and things like that happens, occasionally. I don't recommend anybody walking from my restaurant to the other side of Bucerias at night. Take a cab because especially nowadays with COVID, there's nobody on the streets. It's very deserted, and I don't think it's a good thing to walk around. But other than that, it's pretty much it's safe. It's like sometimes I get up early in the morning, 6, 7 in the morning. It's very dark, and I have people here like walking on the beach. Women jogging and all, and people feel safe. And I think it's pretty much compared to many other countries, I think it's like we are pretty good shape here, especially in Puerto Vallarta. Bahia de Bandeiras, which is basically the municipio that in Nayarit, that's basically what you see here. This is all Bahia de Bandeiras, and I think it's like people should not be worried about anything else aside from obviously following the protocols, going back to COVID, which is we talked about earlier. That people they pretty much follow. I think from my see they follow much better the protocols here than probably in the States.
Yeah.
So that's what I was told and I see on TV.
Yeah, well, don't let them fool you. Everybody in Los Angeles is wearing a mask.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like as far as that. Well, it's. No, I think like people, like I mentioned to you, it's like people ask sometimes, it is safe to come here. It is safe, It's like, especially the weather's being warmer, obviously than the east of the United States and Canada.
Yeah.
And then I think it's like you can pretty much just feel like a little more comfortable being here as far as COVID goes, and I think most of the people, when I go to the gym, when I go to the malls, when I go to the market, everyone wear masks. I mean, you have to. I have a friend of mine from Park City. He's staying in my house now. And he said that in Park City, nobody wear masks to go to a market. I mean, here we do. I don't know if you have been to a supermarket. If you go, you need to wear a mask. If you don't, they have masks for you. They take your temperature. They have gel. Costco, the same thing. Sam's, same thing. So I think that makes people feel like, we are taking care of, of the problem and trying to protect, the residents and obviously, the tourists, which we depend on. It's like, I mean, Vallarta in Bucerias in all this area, we depend on Canadians and Americans, So when you're safe there, please come back.
Yes, that's right. And I tell everybody has their own level of comfort. Some people are a little more adventuresome. Yeah. Some people are a little more comfortable with travel. So, you know your level, everybody out there, and I'm here to tell you, and City's here to tell you, it's safe, but do it at your. No,
it is safe. It's safe. And I think what I think like I said, this is the first time in 20 years that I don't leave Vallarta, that I don't leave Mexico. In 20 years, I travel, like I said, 4 months out of the year, this is the first year that I never left.
Is there? Now I see some caballero going down the beach there with a couple of horses.
There.
What's with that?
Well, they legally they're not allowed, but we're in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's like they're okay. They're supposed to clean the horse shit on the beach. But they sometimes pick up a couple of clients and all. But no, I think I think they're okay.
Okay.
I think it's part of the charm.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything destructive. They are not getting like 15, 20 people. It's like only 2 or 3 horses.
Yeah.
And no, I think it's okay. I mean, I think it's pretty much under control. But anyway, aside from that, life is normal. Life is good.
What should a person who comes to Bucerias not miss? What should they do?
Mezzogiorno.
That's right. That's right.
Obviously.
I was hoping you'd say that.
No, Bucerias. I don't think there are highlights in Bucerias, other than the beach. Because I think that compared to Vallarta, the public beaches in Vallarta, we have nice beaches here than in Puerto Vallarta. In Puerto Vallarta, you have all the hotel zones, and then you have the Zona Romantica, which is kind of very small beach, very crowded. But here it's like, I think people come here from Nuevo Vallarta all the way to Punta Esmeralda, which is right over there. It's just like the way you see there, that's how it is always. Like even in high season, normal times, it's pretty much, like you see, lots of space to breathe, space to walk. And I think the beach is a very important part of our lives here. Bucerias, the restaurants that we mentioned before, and downtown Bucerias, which is, kind of a cute, has its charm, with the vendors and all. And quiet, I think it's quiet. People come here also for the quietness. I think people here, they're not, it's probably the age is like from 40s, 50s up. Mm-hmm. It's a little more mature crowd.
Right.
Versus Sayulita. If you want to go party, you go to Sayulita. If you want to surf and pot and all, it's like party. Here it's a little people, I think they come here, they want to have a kind of a more relaxed, lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's why we are here, and a lot of people that I know, they've been here forever. We all want our peace and quiet. We want to do business, obviously, and we want to enjoy what God has given to us, which is the beautiful beach we have.
Yes, and it is gorgeous, and the restaurant is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And let's come back to the restaurant. So tell us, you have a presence on Facebook, internet. How do people find you?
We do. We have Facebook. We have the Facebook, Instagram, and
you have a website?
Huh?
You have a website?
Website. I should do. Yes, mezzogiorno.com.mx. It's right over here on the QR.
Right on the QR code.
And that's how we pretty much do all the advertising. Google, because they have that. TripAdvisor too. Not. I don't recommend TripAdvisor. I don't like TripAdvisor. If you read my TripAdvisor's comments, the negative ones, probably gonna laugh. Some people gonna probably. I don't know, because I'm not. I mean, it's kind of I just don't. TripAdvisor lost track of things.
Yeah.
It can't be not
can't be
too
following
reliable.
every town out there.
Yeah, it's like it's not a good source of information, because I used to rely on TripAdvisor when I traveled, and I haven't done since because it's not
real.
No.
There's a bunch of people out there spamming people, making people look bad, having so much fun making people look bad.
Very
it's
seldom
awful.
now you get a TripAdvisor in comments, more to Google. But anyway, and then this is it. The restaurant is like, it's, as I said, I've been here for 16 years, and we just do what we do every day, and people come because they know us, and I think the important thing that I always say is like, the important thing is not that you come the important thing is that you come back, because you can come for the first time. Everybody goes to a place first time, but I want to make sure that when you return, that's a good thing. Because I don't want the client for once, even though you don't live here, maybe live in whatever, but I mean, they always come back or they send somebody, and that's what we try to do. We try to do the best we can to keep people coming back, more than once. And
that's what makes you feel good when people come back.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, this year it's been an off year, but God, it's like, if it had been regular time, I wouldn't be talking to you right now because we're full.
Yeah.
It's like and I mean, it's just odd. I mean, it feels like we are in slow season.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, it's
you're not in the slow season.
We survived.
You're in the twilight zone. You're not in the slow season. You're in the twilight zone.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it's like it's just different. We keep we pretty much kept our employees when we closed for 3 months on a payroll, which most people didn't.
That's amazing.
That's one thing.
Good
sometimes.
Good for you. Good for you.
No, absolutely. It's like we like I told them, we were very conservative last year as far as expanding and all, and we were lucky that we have enough money in the bank to keep the place closed and pay. We had 15, 20 employees on a payroll.
Wow.
And then and they were all in 3 months off at home. They got their payroll every 15 days, and I think that also, I think that gets back to you because they, sometimes they don't say it out loud, but I think they understand, and they see it that we are not trying to rip anybody off, and we understand their situation as well. So.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Oh no, they do.
And
they
I do, and I do too. I think that's wonderful.
We, like I said, David, we do what we think is right. I couldn't, I couldn't do any different because I would feel bad about it. It's like I wouldn't be able to face them. If I had the money to pay. It's like
yeah.
So
I hear you. Well, that's great. It means that your employees will like you even more, and and that's that's a good thing.
Most of them, I have employees that work for me for 20 years almost.
Wow.
I have a lot of people. I have a kid that like a girl, Lucy. She worked with me like 15 years ago. Worked as a dishwasher, and now she's a waitress. She bought a house. She finished college. She just finished last November.
Wow.
It's kind of there's a lot of things that we're proud of,
Yeah.
Like they are, and I want them to kind of succeed in life too.
Sure.
He said, I tell everybody, I don't want you to be stuck here with me all your lives. I want you guys do something with your lives. It's like go and then find, and then find something, and then that's how I did it. It's like, I think because nothing was handed to me either. And I think that's I keep telling my employees. I worked as a dishwasher in the States when I went also, to pay for my school. It's like, and I know what it is. Not like, I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have inheritance, anything like that. And I think being in their place like before, and I can transmit there to them, and kind of show them, that, you can do it, if you want to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow. All right, so your address is?
My address is, the street's called Pacifico, like Pacific, number 33, in downtown Bucerias. Because Bucerias has a downtown and has the Zona Dorada, the Golden Zone, which all the restaurants I mentioned before is on the Golden Zone on the other side of downtown. I'm kind of, the last restaurant, I think, on the street of Bucerias in front of the ocean. Or the first one, different how you see it. There's about 10 or 15 restaurants on this road, mostly all of them Mexican. I'm the only Italian on the beach, and beautiful place, as you probably can see. Maybe if you have some pictures, people can Google or can see the on Facebook and web page, and you see how pleasant the place is outside here.
Correct, and I'm going to have all that in the show notes, and you know where to find those. We tell you again, it's www.puertovallartravelshow.com. I'm going to have photos. I'm going to have a photo of Sidney's smiling face I am going to have links that will take you to the Facebook page and the Instagram page and to his website, and also a Google map that will take you to his front door. And is there anything else you wanted to add before we say goodbye today, Sidney?
No, I want to thank you for coming, and I'm glad that you did. I like sometimes to talk about a little bit about me and my story, and hopefully, that will inspire other people as well. And, the positive things that I said, it goes to, to enlighten other people's, people that are going to be listening to it, people that know me, and they know that, where I stand in business. And I thank you for coming.
No worries at all. I do this because I want to introduce people to my listeners so they know that you're real people. You're just not, just like an owner of a restaurant. You're a real person. You got a real story. And I think that's why I'm here. That's why I like to do that.
Like I said, it's like, being a restaurant owner is not only, coming and showing your face and saying hello to everybody. It's like we do, between me and my partner, we do just about everything. I can clean the bathrooms, I can cook, he can do the drinks, I can serve tables, I can sweep the floor, I can do wait on tables. Like basically, I think that's what makes us strong, because and that's why I tell all my employees, anything that you can do, we can do also. We've done it and we can still do it. So sometimes if you see us like bending on the floor with a mop, don't worry about it, because it's like all the employees are busy, and then we just grab the mop and start mopping the floor, and that's how it is. And I think in the U.S. is pretty much it.
Sure.
I mean, I think in the U.S., I think most of the young kids there, before college, they did work for a restaurant one time or the other, right?
Yeah, oh, sure.
It's like, and I think that's a good lesson, I think to everybody. And I want my employees to have this as a reference, and then think that, there are hope for them, to
grow,
get ahead.
Yeah. Well, all right, Sidney, I want to thank you again. Thanks for allowing me to introduce you and your lovely restaurant.
My pleasure.
And Mezzogiorno to my listeners.
You pronounce it just like a true Italian.
Look at me, brother. Thanks again, Sidney.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Thank you so much, Sidney. Thank you so much. I really, really liked him. And you will too when you finally meet him, if you haven't already. Now, I was in contact with Sidney, and you know what? He's finally gotten away. For a vacation. He and Enrique actually purchased a vacation home in the Italian countryside. So just imagine the recipes that he'll be gathering from probably just right outside his door. Oh my. Anyway, I have pictures of the beautiful restaurant. I have pictures of some of the incredible dishes that Sidney and Enrique will provide for you when you come and visit Mezzogiorno. You will find all that stuff in the show notes. Of course, you'll find a map that will bring you to the front door of Mezzogiorno. Go there. The food is absolutely lovely. All right. Well, that should do it for this week. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com. That's JR's website. Reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, the value for value proposition that we have here is experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so do it, really. And when you do take one of these tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he has his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. I have links to all of those in the show notes as well. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time, subscribe, give me a good review wherever you happen to be listening, share it with a friend. That's really what I want. That way we can get more, word out to more and more people on the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, you really need to have a look there. I have links to the places that we talk about. I have interesting pictures and more right there in the blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Well, hey, I want to thank Sidney Lecther so much for inviting me and telling me all about his lovely restaurant, Mezzogiorno. I have pictures. I have links. Get on over there. Enjoy a beautiful seaside Italian dinner. You will thank me for it. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino, perno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río, cuando todo está en calma, pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta.